Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to our interview series. I'm Romeo Pott from Accretion Digital, and today we're flipping the spotlight onto someone who's out there making big things happen in their field. I'm super excited to talk with Omar Cruz from Infinity Venue, and let's go ahead and get right into it and learn about what you do. So,
All
Omar,
right.
tell me, how did this all start for you? What pulled you into this business, or what inspired you to take the leap into Infinity Venue?
So I come from the IT background during COVID, or right before COVID, actually, before we even knew COVID was happening. I was having really hard time in my IT business, and I've always been business oriented. So I
Yeah.
wanted to find a new avenue to go to. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do something else in IT, if I just wanted to go, to corporate America again and just, call it quits on my business. But like I said, I've always been business oriented. So I'm like, I have to find something else that I can do as a business, even if it's not full time, find something.
Right.
So I've figured out there's always parties going on, right? Even if it's in your backyard, if it's a small get together, there's always parties going on. So I figured why not look into the event space industry and see how that goes.
Now, before you jumped into the event space, have you been a customer of a venue before like that?
I never actually had like full on parties where I needed a venue. I think the closest to rent a venue is like like the arcades, where you get the arcade and you get the small room or you get a table, but never actually like a full on venue.
Now, compared to your venue now, have you ever been to like have you ever I guess been at a venue then like at a party then where they had a venue?
Yeah, so multiple times, even before I got the venue, I was always invited to like quinceañeras and weddings, and I never really thought about being an event venue owner until it actually happened. Like I would see like, oh, okay, this type of business, and obviously you get a lot of people together, but I never really saw myself doing it because I never really had an experience. I always see event planners becoming event venue owners.
Yeah.
People that do rentals. So they might already have tables and chairs and all kinds of stuff. You know, um, so or like decorators and so people that are already in the industry and just want to focus in one specific area.
Yeah.
That's how I see a lot of venues opening. But in my case, it was just more like I thought of an idea and I made it happen. Believe it or not, I was losing sleep over what kind of business I wanted to do next.
Yeah.
And so I've thought about, I'm like, wait, well, there's always parties, let it be
Every
like a birthday
weekend. Every
party.
weekend.
Yeah, there's birthday parties, there's weddings, there's baby showers. So there's all kinds of events you can do in the space. Obviously there's different um like space wise, like for example, there might be people that need a small place for like more intimate events versus a full-on wedding. Well, they'll need a bigger space. So I started with a smaller crowd. My target was to target apartment owners. So if you're an apartment owner, you don't really have a backyard to do a party. You can't really do it at your apartment because there's no real space to
And
have
you can
family
also get
over.
in trouble with too much noise and stuff like that.
Right, exactly, yeah. So that was like my point, like how I first started. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna target apartment owners, and that's how I started, you know.
Let me ask you this next question. So, like, obviously, there's other venues out there, right, in different areas, but what would you say is like the biggest difference when like, people compare different options, right? How do you like, I guess, position that, right? How are you guys a little bit different?
Yeah. So we're really flexible on a lot of things. I think that's one of our biggest selling points. Whereas some venues are like, I'm the only you can only use certain vendors when you book our venue. You can only do things our way. You can only, cater with our caterers, you know.
I see.
So that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing with me. I'm like, I like to support other small businesses. So even if, let's say, you book my venue, but you don't want my decorators, or you don't want my catering company, or my catering services,
Hmm.
then I give them the flexibility of them bringing their own food or them doing their own decorations.
That's really
Where
that's pretty awesome. Do you feel like I wonder if all your customers even know that, or like not, I should say future customers who maybe haven't found you yet. I wonder if they know that. And I wonder how many people, are actually letting people do that because you're right that some of those places they're very strict and they only let you use their people,
yeah,
which makes sense. I get it. They're probably trying to, also promote business for that part of
yeah,
either
it's yeah,
their
it's one of
network,
those things. Yeah, it's one of those things, where they feel like they're bringing a benefit to their clients, but in a way they're really closed mind, because they say, okay, well, you can only use these vendors. Well, what if, like for example, I've had people where they're event planners themselves, so like they're planning their daughter's quinceañera, and obviously they have the mindset and they have the idea that they want for their decorations, So I'm like, well, yeah, go ahead and do it. It's your event. I feel like you should have um, that flexibility to be able to, decorate however you like, or do the event exactly how you want it.
Now, when you think about the people who go to Infinity Venue, right, and like the people who like want to use your services, what are people calling for? Like, like what do they want? Like I know it's probably about space, like how many people and stuff like that. But like
Right.
when you think about the people who, get the most out of Infinity Venue, who are those people? Like, well, what are they looking for before they book?
So the majority of the people are looking for like clear communication. One,
Hmm.
if I tell them something, they know that that's what they're gonna get. Two, I would say the flexibility that I give them, on, let's say I don't have an event the day before, they can go set up for it, so they're not running around the day of. And three, I would say the parking. The parking is a big thing, and that's one of the main points I look at when I started looking for my second location.
Hmm.
Even my first location, that was the biggest sell point. I needed to be able to have parking because I
Yeah.
know that if they have to struggle with parking, then they're not gonna book. You know.
Before you continue, let me that goes into my next question. Actually, I was going to say when people are coming to you, like I know you just mentioned parking, like so that's one of the things that they're worried about, right? Is there something else they're worried about?
Uh, Yes, like usually, like you'll have, just like with any other business, they're shopping around, and I don't blame them, especially in this economy we're having. They're shopping around, and they're looking, most of the time, they're looking for a better price, right? Which at the end of the day, sometimes that's the most important thing for people, being able to afford it. uh, but I tell them like, okay, if you've already went to see 4 or 5 different venues and you ended here for the sixth or the fifth, it means that the other 5 or 6 haven't met your expectations, right? So I always ask them, what is it that you're looking for?
That's an important,
Oh,
yeah, because it can
I'm looking
vary.
for a venue that will be able to do this, this, and this for me, but still allows me to do this. I'm like, well, that's us, you know. And like, oh, okay, Sometimes what I've seen is that, which again, it's completely fine, but they they try to do everything as a couple, So one person will go, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, well, I need to talk to my significant other about what we went through and all that. But what I tell them is like, don't wait too long because it's a first come first serve kind of business.
No, I know,
I
and
can't.
I know you guys have been busy for sure.
Right.
And then go ahead.
Yeah, so I just tell them, like if you've already went through five or six different tours, and this is what you're looking for, just give your significant other a call, shoot them a message, give them a video call, so we can answer both of your questions, versus, you go back home and you guys talk about it, and then at the end of the day, you because you've been to different places, you don't remember what's what, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Especially like five or six. Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
start mixing up stories. You're gonna start remembering that one place is really big and they had like amazing, like climate control, and maybe the
Right.
climate control is from a different one. I was gonna say when you think about all the people you've helped and all the parties and stuff that you've had, right? And I know you got reviews on Google. You got some pretty awesome reviews on Google. What's one that really like comes to mind that you remember very easy? Like there must have been somebody out there where you helped them big time. Maybe you went even above and beyond, and they probably wrote it on Google.
Yeah, they didn't write it on Google, but they did make like a video review. They were so happy. They actually came out. Obviously, you know where my venues are, but we're
Yeah.
located in Zion, Illinois. And they came out from Chicago to have their event in our venue. So
Wow.
that's a pretty big hike, right? About hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for them was their family were all located here, so it made it a lot easier for them to get a hotel overnight and stay here to not make the drive back. But they really like the attention to details. Um, I'm obviously the main owner, but I have my family working with me. I have my sister and my mom helping me with catering, and I have them helping me with the serving and the cleaning. So they really like the attention to detail that they offered. On top of that, obviously they dealt with me for about, I want to say, 5 6 months throughout the process, and they really liked the fact that I answered, all the questions they had, any concerns they might have missed when they came to see it. They knew I was a phone call away or even a text.
Now, Omar, when somebody, okay, so um, now that we've learned about your business, right, where it's at, like you said, you have two locations, one in Zion and one in Waukegan. I think the Waukegan, I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but I'm mentioning it now. And then I've heard about, like the differences, right, how you're actually doing things a little bit differently than places who lock you into these, these very specific, caterers and stuff that they do. Now I have a question. So if somebody decided to say, you know what, I want to work with Omar, I want to see the venue and stuff like that, or I want to book this weekend somewhere in Zion or Waukegan, what does the process look like? What does it look like to become your customer? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, yeah. So we first of all we set up a tour.
Okay.
We set up a tour to come see the venues, one or the other. Um, well, actually, let me go back one step. So
Okay.
in the initial call, I asked them certain questions like how many people they're gonna have, what location they prefer, right? So from there, I kind of recognize, they need a bigger space versus the smaller one, or they need the smaller one versus the bigger one, right? And then I scheduled a tour. On the tour, I show them around. I show them what the day of will eventually look like. I show them pictures. I show them videos, and then the booking process is pretty easy. Just one form. Go show them our rules, which is the main thing. I want them to be able to
No punching
follow.
holes in the wall, right?
Right, exactly. You know, just show them, go through the rules, answer any questions they might have, clarify anything. And then we need simple information like their name, their phone number, email to be in contact with them.
How long does
And
all that take? It sounds like a lot. It sounds like a couple steps, but I'm sure it doesn't take that long, does it?
no, so let's say the tour takes about 30 minutes, unless they have, more questions, or they have to call someone else to be able to see it on video, or make a decision.
An
So
appointment, yeah.
about 30 minutes, I would say. After, they fill out all the contract information. Um, we basically stay in touch, answer any questions they might have, or get any details on decorations or anything like that.
Now, what's like so what's one thing that you wish, like people knew more about Infinity Venue? I know you mentioned about not locking them in, but is there something else maybe I didn't get a chance to cover, didn't get to ask you? What's something that you wish like people knew before calling?
Yeah. Um, let's see. I would think the flexibility that we have, if let's say they have an event, that started out as something unplanned. Let's say they're planning out a baby shower.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the most common one, where they think, oh, I'm only gonna have the really close family. So I would say 40 or 50 guests. You know, um, and obviously they get the walk-in location, which fits up to 80. And then later on, once they start looking into invitations and who can I possibly invite, they figured out that with kids and adults, they might have about 100 guests. So
I'm sure
even
that happens a lot, and people bring
yeah,
a guest, right? Oh, Omar
right,
invited me, but I end up bringing a
exact,
girlfriend, or someone
yeah,
brings their boyfriend, or whichever.
yeah,
Bring guests.
right, yeah.
Before you know it,
So it's
it's a hundred.
I'm really flexible with, okay, no, now you outgrew whatever you originally booked. If obviously, if the date's still available, I can move you to the bigger space, obviously for additional price, or kind of see how we can work things out. So yeah, that's one of the scenarios.
I see. Well, yeah. So that basically then it'd be that before people call, you wish that they knew that a lot of times the number that they have in mind is not accurate.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So sometimes they might say, you know, 50 or 60, but in reality they, forgot that, somebody from the family's in town, so they'll invite them. So that's another 5 to 6 guests, and so just knowing that we have the flexibility of covering, multiple quantities of parties and events,
Yep.
or being able to offer them different options.
No, I think that's important. Now, Omar, so now if somebody says, "Hey, I want to learn more about Infinity Venue," right? They want to find you, they want to call you, they want to email you, they want to maybe not email you, right? So you get spam, but maybe they want to call you, they want to visit your website. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, so all social media, Facebook, Instagram. We have Infinity Venue IL. We also have our website, infinityvenueil.com. And then phone number is 847-668-5908. Like I said, if you have any questions, concerns, don't hesitate to give us a call or message us on Facebook or Instagram. Even a text over the phone, I'm open to. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Business owners are moving away from texting because they want to be able to hear the person's voice and be able to interact with them. But I understand that sometimes we're busy and we can't take on a full on call. um, or like I mentioned, you're looking around, you're shopping around, you want to be able to refer back to something. So a text obviously stays in your phone. So if you text me, hey, is this date available? I'll be like, okay, wait, you know what? It's not available, but I have these other options.
I see.
So now you have something to play with. And that just happened over the weekend. I had somebody that had called me and told me, hey, I want this date. Is it available? I'm like, yes, it's available as of right now. That's my biggest thing, as of right now, because anybody else can come in and say, hey, I want this date, and here's the contract, here's the money. You know, we start doing business, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean,
now,
it'd be sad for you to have to tell a customer, "I'm so sorry. I know I told you. I know you're gonna book next. You
right,
said you're gonna book this Friday, and you didn't call me back. You didn't, we didn't do anything.
yeah,
Someone came right after you and booked it,
right,
And then
And
now
it happened.
nobody wants to, yeah, nobody wants to hear that. You got to be you got to deliver the bad news, you know.
Right.
You got to be the one to tell
Yeah.
them, hey, you know, like a doctor giving bad news. You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
well, anyways, so far, you know, Omar, thank you so much. This has been an awesome conversation, right? And I appreciate you sharing the details about your business, who you help, and even now people know how to get started, right, and where to find you. Now, the
Right.
last thing, I just have one last question before we end this call. If you could give anyone, either your customer or somebody who is starting their own business, right? Because this is like a business interview.
Right.
What would you have? What kind of advice do you have for them? Whether it be for a customer or someone starting a business.
If it's for someone starting a business, I would say go for it. You know, if you're already thinking about it and you already, I would say like you just thinking about it, it's a first step that a lot of people don't do. When I started my business journey, that was the basically the first thing, you know, thinking about what idea I had, what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
Right after that, just taking the step to start the process was probably the hardest part of it all. You know, right after starting the process of thinking, you know, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna offer? It was like, you know, like walking again. You know, you take baby steps. You know, you think about what you want to do, how you want to do it, and you put it in place. So I would say go for it. You know, you won't know if it's gonna work if you don't try it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, for everyone watching, if you've enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like it. You can share this. You can also follow us, right, wherever you see this. We'll see this on YouTube and also another, like on Instagram and other social media. And again, now you have information about how to get, you know, venue services or how to book a venue in Zion or Waukegan through Infinity Venue. Thank you again, Omar, for, you know, having this call with me. And I'm Romeo Pott from Accretion Digital. We're considered your marketing people. So if you need marketing services, you can reach out to us. Thank you guys. And thank
Okay.
you, Omar.
Thank you. Thank you.